What's up, people? This is Mike Lang, one half of the Intelligent Hoodlums, here with the quasi-frozen webs. uh, Webs is like this is stop motion webs tonight. Stop motion webs. That's what it is. Stop motion.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
Indeed. Yeah. So tonight's show, we're going to kind of rock and roll here. We'll see if we unfreeze webs. We have webs return to like normal speed here. Who knows? Yeah. So we're looking kind of forward to setting everything up for next school year, and not to say that this school year is a wrap, but definitely starting to look at skills, techniques for a school year that's probably portends to be hybrid, perhaps, or not the normal pre-COVID situation that we've grown accustomed to. And so this is kind of a Clark County School District centered show tonight in terms of looking at ClassroomCast, this tool that is widely available. It is free to everyone who is a Clark County School District teacher. Why we want to utilize that, setting up your channels tonight, kind of looking at things that way. Why it might be something to look at over YouTube, in that it could save your you're back to normal.
All right, cool. When in doubt, turn it off and turn it back on.
Indeed. The ClassroomCast kind of gives you some advantages over YouTube in that you don't have to worry about commercials or inappropriate content or anything like that. And like it's pretty snazzy and super easy to utilize. So we're gonna get into that once we get over get through our very first segment as usual. We're gonna call this building with ClassroomCast. And our Ask a Software Developer question today, Webs, is how exactly does one plan for projects when we're doing stuff in your newfound arena? When we start planning for things, is it what are some strategies rather for the software developer when one is starting to plan things? This is the question. Go ahead, Webs.
So we don't generally do these like questions before the show, so I don't ever know until we get on the air what he's going to ask me. So I don't know like what answer you're hoping for.
I'm not hoping for any answer. I just want the honest to God truth. I don't want. This is one reason I don't rehearse it with you beforehand, because I don't want it to be scripted. Like, what kind of stuff do you guys, in preparation for your tasks? Is there a certain philosophy everyone has? Are there certain processes that everyone adheres to in order to make sure that everything is clear? Do those things change on a regular basis? Like, what happens if you're planning for work? What does that look like?
So there's like macro to micro. There's like planning for a big project. So if we're starting a new project with a client, we tend to do what's called an Inception. So we'll ask end users questions. And I apologize if it's extra echoey, but like I'm putting together a Murphy bed and all of the soundproofing type things I realized were in here have been moved out. So it's just a giant echoey chamber. So we do this thing called an Inception where we look at, we ask questions of the end users. We try to get an idea of what the business case we're trying to solve for is. It's a lot about mapping out user journeys and figuring out like what is the thing that we are trying to make? What is the system or the process that we're trying to improve? Then so that's at the like the highest level. Then next level down would probably be like what project managers do, which is now we kind of know the broad strokes of what we want to do, which are called epics, like big, long, like customer journeys are called epics. And then the next step down from that is a feature. So you may have a customer journey that's like, oh, we want a really common one in retail is, or in a shopping cart situation is like the customer flow to be able to check out, right? So if you're building a website that has a shopping cart, you want a customer to be able to find a product, add it to their cart, look at what's in their cart before they check out, go through the checkout process, enter their payment, and then get some confirmation that their checkout was successful. So that may be the epic. And then the feature would be something like the flow of a customer registering that isn't signed in, doesn't have a registered account. So it might be slightly different than someone who is registered. And so you start from this big, wide, broad strokes type level, and then break up into, we call them vertical slices. You break work up into these vertical slices. They're complete stories. We try to make sure that we're delivering business value. So adding a button isn't usually delivering business value, but maybe the process of being able to add a friend on Facebook is delivering some sort of business value. So we don't do just like isolated components. It has to be something that is useful, like as a complete package. So that's part of it too. And then on the very most micro level, like when we are planning on working together to work on a story, because that's the smallest unit of work is a story, still a vertical slice, but the smallest unit of a vertical slice you can have. And so that may be something along the lines of, hey, I'm going to add, as part of the, adding a friend story, we have to make sure that we have the ability to actually do the adding. So we may, on the UI, the user interface, you add the button that says add a friend. Then the next step down is you have to make the call to the back end of things and add that person to a database, and then make sure that those two people have a connection with each other. So that would be like the full, workplace. So we make sure that we have a pair to work with. We make sure we understand what the expectations are. We do what's called a kickoff, and we get together with like our quality analyst and or some other member of the team, and then the two people who are going to work on the story. And we say, okay, our understanding of the story is this. Can you confirm that that is correct? Does anyone else have any questions? Quality analyst, is there anything that you would look for in particular that when you're testing out this story that we want to make sure that we cover? We think about like what tests we need to put in place, make sure that we have time that we can work together. And then from there we get to work. And we may like sketch out, hey, let's do this piece first. So like the adding a friend, we may talk about like, okay, let's start from the front end. We'll build the button. These are all the steps we have to go through to be able to successfully accomplish this workflow. And that way we're on the same page with the kind of to-do list of things that need to get done.
Super cool.
I can't imagine what that has to do with today's topic.
Oh, it's got a lot to do with it, actually, Liz. Now, in terms of parallels between that, what you just described, in your teaching career, any parallels, anything that you found that perhaps, had you applied that to your classroom experience, could have been more fulfilling, better, more efficient, more efficacious?
I think a couple of things. One, I wish I had worked with people more when I was in the classroom. I see so much more the benefits of having a pair to work with, and I understand better, like more efficient ways to work with other people than I feel like I did when I was in the classroom. So that would be part of it. Things that I didn't think I needed someone to bounce ideas off of, I find like roadblocks get moved a lot more quickly when I have someone else to rubber duck to and like talk out loud to. And so I wish I had known that when I was in the classroom. The other thing is thinking in vertical slices, like thinking about what value am I delivering to my students, right? Like focusing on them as my end user instead of focusing on what standards do I have to accomplish. I think that's another shift if I were to go back to the classroom that I would make is, yes, there are standards that need to be addressed, but there are standards that need to be addressed, but like making sure that whatever it is that I'm working on delivers value to my students and they see the value in what I'm creating.
Interesting. Very interesting. Now, as someone who builds products for companies that try to sell things to people, right? Building all these ecosystems and all that wonderful stuff. If you wanted to make a website as efficient as possible, would you add more text or more multimedia, and why?
Definitely more multimedia. It gets people's attention. It holds people's attention. And like we talked about last episode, or I think it was last episode, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, video is worth 1,000,000. So it gets the idea across quickly. It is lower cognitive load to process like video or an image. I think an image is actually probably the lowest. But there's the trade-off of like you could have some confusion in your meaning if you don't choose the right images or choose the right icons or something. Yeah, so I would reduce the amount of text that's there. Like as much as we really push like reading the written word, it's not a common thing, really. I mean, it's common insofar as you do need it for certain processes in life, but when it comes to like trying to get people's attention from like a marketing perspective, people are gonna gravitate toward pictures much more than words.
Because, as I have said multiple times now, I don't believe teaching exists anymore. The teachers exist anymore in the traditional sense. So if you're not marketing, if you're not advertising, if you're not trying to catch somebody's attention, then perhaps we should be. I mean, the fact that video, again, is still king. Images, picture books, and graphic novels are far more engaging pieces of media when kids walk in libraries. Not to say that there aren't kids that like novels and old, very very long, thick text that don't have pictures. But I guarantee you, if you walk into a library and you have especially K6, K7 kids, what books are those kids gravitating to? I mean, even as a grown man, I mean, comic books are my jam, right? I mean, I like comic books. I like graphic novels that deal with historical subjects and whatnot in very visual forms that allow me to not have to have the additional cognitive load of trying to build a picture in my mind. You give me the picture in the, oh, okay, cool. If I want to add anything else, that's just up to you, boy. So with that being the case, we're gonna talk about ClassroomCast in specifically. But again, this idea of video and video creation, how this is gonna save you a lot of time next school year, kind of generally. And so this is again going to be aimed more at Clark County School District teachers because this tool is a CCSD tool. It's already been built. It's already available for you. It's a tool that you can start using tomorrow or tonight if you wanted to. With the idea that you can start to build things in there, build your channel up, and not have to worry about next school year trying to figure out all this cool stuff that you were doing before. And it's built in Canvas, or I can send a kid the video list to be walking through things. This kind of was even more webs, more reinforced. For those who are new to the show, I'm a Forged in Fire junkie. If you've never watched the show, Hulu, a couple seasons on Netflix. Gentleman got on the last show that I was watching. His first thing was like, "Yeah, I'm a self-taught forger. I've never been a professional blacksmith." Oh, you could say that I graduated from school. I graduated from YouTube University, and so the guy demonstrated. He learned how to forge off of YouTube, which I think is really dope. And Webbs, do you have a degree in computer science?
I do not. I have a degree in language arts education and educational leadership and bilingual education. I do not have a degree in computer science.
No degree in computer science. However, your current employment is as a software developer.
That is correct.
Interesting. So, did you sit and read books about software development?
Oh God, no. I mean, did I read any books about before I started? No. Pretty much everything I did was like video courses on either edX or Treehouse or there's another website I can't think of that's for coding. I'm totally drawing a blank. But mostly I did actual like activities, exercises, whatever, or I watched videos that like kind of walked me through how to do a thing. Indeed. After I got into the field, I did get a couple of books. Like I got a book on Scala because my first project was in Scala. I think I read maybe half of it.
Indeed. Now, again, YouTube University exists. So, the old school version of I'm going to stand in front of you and tell you all the stuff that I've learned through my 35 years of teaching as if those things haven't changed at all. I don't think that functions anymore. I don't think that ever functioned, but it definitely doesn't function anymore right now. So, in terms of our first topic here, notebooks and sketch pads, webs, notebooks and sketch pads. Now, why start off with notebooks and sketch pads? I am a journaler, not in a traditional sense, I guess, but I like to, and I'm not an artist either. I mean, I do try to make things pretty, but I'm not somebody who's skilled with drawing people's faces or anything like that. But one of the things, Webs, when we start talking about when we started to refer to what you were talking about, there's an architecture, right? When you first answered the question about how you all plan, it's not haphazard. There is an architecture. There's a shared vocabulary. There's an understanding of where we're all going, right? And so, oftentimes it's like, I think with the video hustle, it's like, oh, I'm just going to turn the camera on and say things, and you're like, probably not, fam. Like, that's probably not going to work. When you're starting to plan just individually for whatever cards you have to finish, or for your pairs and stuff, how do you organize your information so that when you go into that pairing, when you go into attack that card, you're not going in it like off kilter, rather?
Yeah, so usually we will write down, we'll note it in comments in the code so that we can actually commit it to version control and then edit it as we go. And then when we're done, we'll erase the list of things. Sometimes I'll do a checklist in my to-do app. Usually for projects, we have an experienced designer who will design buttons and things, so we don't have to sketch those out. But like if I'm working on my own project, a lot of times I'll sketch out what I would expect the architecture to kind of look like so that I have a clear vision of what I'm working toward. And then related to this topic, when I do videos, even if it's a short, like 3 or 4 minute video, I'll write out like a script. Oh, hey, what's up? I am. There we go. Even when I do like just TikToks, I'll still write out a script. Just because then it makes it concise. You don't waste a lot of time with ums and uhs, and you think you're going in one direction and then you get distracted and forget. And it's much more concise. And I would say too, like anyone you watch on like YouTube in particular, they have a script that they wrote. Like those videos that they produce take hours. They aren't just like one take and then they're done. They probably do a take like 10, 15, 20 times. Even the vlogs that look very like natural, people are doing takes and retakes, and they'll shoot a thing 5, 10, 15 times and then pick the best clip.
Well, and when I say kind of a script, I'm not even talking about like, oh, you're reading off of a teleprompter or whatever. I think it's very important to know where you're going, right? So that's not just let's sit in front of the camera and say some words, and then suddenly no one knows what you're doing, right? So even if it's taking a sheet of paper and saying, point 1, this is what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to go from here to this person to this person, whatever it is. I don't use technology to do that. I've got notebooks all around my computer. I write stuff down. I sketch it. Got an idea here or whatever. There are tons of programs that'll let you do that. I mean, you can take a Keynote slide to do it. You can do a Google slide. You can do Google Keep. 5 million things you can do. But I like the feel personally of notebook and pen, and the speed in which the analog function there really, really, I think, makes it an organic creation process. And again, everyone works to their style, but I really like the drawing in a notebook, arrow here, arrow there, moving things around. Here's my objectives. This is where I'm going to do this piece and that piece or whatever it happens. And either taking a picture of it with my phone and putting that on my computer and saying, all right, this is the plan. Or like if you're not familiar with Rocket Books, so really, really cool notebooks that allow you to take images of a Rocket book. I'm assuming Webbs, you're going to throw that link down there. Take images with the app, and that will save it as a JPEG for you. And those JPEGs can be shared to any number of places, but it does give you that very organic, which is probably not going to be organic for your kids in a lot of ways because, they might not have that joy of writing in notebooks. But the point is, it's really the don't go into creating your video haphazardly. Don't go into your video I'm going to shoot unless it's like a spur of the moment type situation. Like I get emails all the time from teachers like, look, how can I do X? I am not going to go and write a script out on that. I'm just going to go and screen record very quickly and shoot the video to you. So, but that's not a video I'm shooting for longevity. If, that's not something I'm going to present to my students, if you understand what I'm saying. So, Webbs, any other in terms of planning apparatus in terms of your job that might help a teacher better plan out video?
I like a tool like Miro or Lucid Chart. Like it's essentially a sticky note diagramming tool that's available on the web. For me, I like to be able to move things around. So I might write down sentences and then I want to reorder them. And you can definitely do the same thing on regular Post-it notes. But if you're looking for a digital version so that you're not either wasting paper or you don't have the space or whatever, it gives you the ability to zoom in and zoom out. So, and we use that a lot for planning when we're trying to figure out like how to put things, where to put things. Also, if you're not like a super linear thinker and you want to kind of move things into regions or something and think of them that way, or you could even use it as a storyboard. I like those two tools, Miro and Lucid Chart. Miro more than Lucid Chart, but Lucid Chart has its benefits.
And so before we get to ClassroomCast, given that whole, let's start to that idea of planning and just really, really, scripting and kind of putting things out. I mean, Flipgrid is totally free, won't cost you anything. I'm going to log in very, very quickly. And if you have not seen Flipgrid, this is a deal that we talk about a lot. I did not know the Bitmoji was coming. I'm not a Bitmoji fan, Webbs.
I like it a little bit.
If you go up to shorts, and these are all my little shorts of me doing, interesting things. If you go to shorts up here, great, fine, dandy. I'm going to go ahead to my options here. All right, cool. So the cool thing about Flipgrid is that it does give you some options in terms of how all the wonderful stuff that you can deal with. And I've got it on my second screen here. So you can record the screen very quickly. You can mute yourself. You can mirror your video. You just put the mic there. You can upload clips that are there, which, again, if you don't have a lot of tech around you, this is really, really kind of cool to deal with. Your filters are there, so you can make something look very, very slick in terms of, whatever. You've got your text. You've got ink that you can add there. So whatever the color of the ink that you want to add to your deal. You've got your stickers. All right, so it makes that really, really accessible to make yourself look really cool. Kids like the stickers. Your photos, any pictures you can have from any place else. And a lot of the stuff that I do with the text when you're not inside the deal is you can write notes to yourself. You can give yourself all kind of ideas and whatnot. There are the little sticky notes and stuff when you're actually inside of Flipgrid as well. But this is one of those like non-evasive, very easy to utilize tools that doesn't make video such a chore. Would you agree, Webbs?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's easy to just log in, create a quick short, add a bunch of little fun features to it and be done.
100. So that's one that if you're just getting into the game, the Flipgrids don't cost anything anymore. I am still very perturbed that I was paying $60 a year for that tool and then Microsoft bought it and made it free. But it is what it is. I'm not really, the only place I really do Flipgrid shorts now is inside of Wakelet. I very rarely come directly to Flipgrid to do things anymore because Wakelet, that integration I think is dynamite. It's a really, really cool integration to have those things there. All right, so let's take a look at ClassroomCast very, very quickly, Webs. And as you can see here at the very top here, it says Vegas PBS. So it is a product that is for the Clark County School District teacher. It is there. It is free. It doesn't cost anything. We kind of went over just like the basic overview on Thursday. But this tool, it was one of the tools that I initially 5-6 years ago, I was like, oh, I'm kind of gung-ho about it. Had no real use for it because I didn't see the utility if YouTube existed. It wasn't, this is just full disclosure, it wasn't until Monday, this last Monday going starting hybrid when YouTube Live failed that I had to pivot to ClassroomCast. And thank God this, the tool existed and it allowed me to do what I needed to do. Now, in terms of the deal here, it shows you if you're a school, you can use it for just basic family type stuff. You can stream. So if you were going to stream events to parents that couldn't get there, you could do that. There are some examples inside here of videos that people have already built, and a lot of them are like just streaming stuff. So there's a lot of high school examples. A lot of schools use this for their morning announcements and things like that. But we're going to kind of walk you through some ways that perhaps you would want to utilize this for your, I'm just a teacher, I'm just a regular person, I want to build a library full of videos I want my students to deal with. All right, so let's go back there. Excellent. You'll see on this right-hand side over here that uploading video, it's similar to YouTube or any other place you'd upload video, and then how to log in. The login is just vegaspbs.org/classroomcast. It'll take you directly there. The PDFs are there. I would save those in your Google Drive if I were you. That will save you a lot of time trying to figure out how to do stuff, but we're going to walk you through everything very quickly. All right. Before we get there. Oops. That's not where I wanted to go. This is where I wanted to go.
I'm pretty sure that the link that I shared earlier is not correct, and I don't know if it's related or old or what.
What link did you share earlier?
ClassroomCast.org.
Is that a thing?
Oh, it's a thing.
Is it the same thing that I'm looking at in Airwebs?
It is not.
Okay, so vegaspbs.org/classroomcast is that link.
But it does take you to ClassroomCast, a service of Vegas PBS.
So if it takes you to the same place, multiple hospitals.
It's not the same place.
It's not the same place. So it's not the
it's
same
not
place.
The same place, but it appears to be the same, like, maybe it was a previous iteration.
ClassroomCast.org. Let me pull that up and see.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not stealing my data or anything, Webs.
I don't think so, although it is an insecure, it's not using HTTPS, yeah.
Yeah, so the ClassroomCast hustle, yeah, you definitely want to use that. This is built in WordPress as well. So you want to go to that vegaspbs.org/classroomcast is where you want to go. All right, and that you can also be logged in through your one place and all that kind of stuff. ClassroomCast lives in one place. So the idea again is that you're curating, you're uploading all that wonderful stuff. Yeah, super important. But here we go. I'm going to go log in. So again, this is built into your CCSD situation, and you're going to be sent here to, you'll see Vegas PBS at the top, and you're going to see this at the very top. It's going to say ccsd.gg4l.com. Don't be alarmed. That's what it's supposed to say. It's weird. It's just your AD situation. And again, if you're not using LastPass or some kind of password manager, that might be something you want to deal with as well. Word up to the homie Webs on that one. Now you will see that, hey, when I get in here, I've got the Wiki Teacher Hustle, which is still around, Classroom Cable in the Classroom, which I did not know was still around. Your Curriculum Engine is still there. Learn 360 is there. One Place is there. And your ClassroomCast is actually the third option there. So we're going to click that. And every school has its own channel. So Right now, this is the Deering Elementary School where I do my daytime work. This is that hustle. Again, we shoot as a specialist. We shoot 6 shows a day that are stream shows that get streamed live into classrooms and for our friends who still are hybrid at distance at home. And that was my main desire. How could I stream something and get it past the firewalls? The YouTube Live, for some strange reason, was not getting past the firewalls. This was. If you look at the architecture here, it looks YouTube-ish, right? This is going to be something that kids are going to not have to have a deep learning curve in. I've got the name of my show here. I've got the time it happened, when it was published. I've got an ability to rate the show. I can share it. I can save it. I could subscribe just like I would as in YouTube, right? It's also going to show me all the other shows that are there. And we're going to have like 3 million shows by the time this thing is over. But all my shows are there. All right. Now, there is someone on your campus, whether they know it or not, who is your campus administrator, your person who's in charge of the instance. If you don't need that person to do very much at all, once you log into ClassroomCast for the very first time, Webs, it will create your instance, it will create your channel. You don't need any special permissions or anything like that. The entire Clark County School District and every teacher already has a channel. It's already there. Don't have to do anything special. If you remember the CCSD TV way back in the day, yeah, this is kind of the spiritual successor of that situation. So if we look at the video here, the deal here, the very top, I want to show you something. So there are 34 assets inside the channel here, and you'll notice that 33 of them belong to me. So this is my channel. These are all my assets with myself. All right. Because I happen to be the site administrator for the channel, I have access to every teacher's channel. So I can go in and add stuff, move things around, all that wonderful stuff, which, is kind of cool that I can play, the television producer role. That's kind of cool. But given that, with much power comes much responsibility. So you would only have the ability to add things to your channel. You'll notice in the top right-hand corner there, logo. Do not push that logo. It's not going to send you back home. It's going to send you back to that main website. The home button will be there. All right. And that's going to show you again all your videos that you've produced. And as the site-based administrator, it is again going to default me to every video that's there. But if I hit home while I was logged in as myself, not as a site administrator, just my videos. All right. Right next to that is that classic play button. It looks just like it's YouTube-esque. All right, that's going to show all the live videos that are straight up. So what I do for our videos is I have scheduled every video for the rest of the school year. Everything's there. I just got to stream directly to it. I think what else we need to do, like a stream show too, like an encoder show perhaps, where we kind of, there might be teachers that want to deal with that.
Streaming 101 with the Hoodlums.
Something like that. I don't know. But in terms of that, you can, set up all your streaming shows if you were going to utilize those things. You can set those things up when it's a streaming event. Most of us are not going to be in that neck of the woods at this point. Where you want to kind of do your damage here is in the waffle up there at the top. All right, and this is where you don't need to be able to use all these things. You just need to know what things that are the most integral to you being successful. All right. Now, some of these things are the admin tools. Some of the things aren't. So that site management and stuff, all this stuff is not something that you're going to have. These are things that the site admin can deal with. We kind of looked at Vision Capture. We'll look at that a little bit later. But underneath the channel management, you can create and edit your own channels. You can also syndicate the channels, which is kind of cool. But the creating the channels, if you click that create a channel, you can create by email address who you want to be the manager of that channel. So you can, this is one of the things that makes it really cool, is this is a collaboration opportunity for you with your video. So you could say, even though I'm creating this channel, I want, if Webbs and I work at the same school, I want Webbs to be the person who is the manager of the channel. All right. I can name the channel whatever I want. I can create a channel logo. So if I really want to be swanky, create that channel logo, and I can add sub channels underneath that. And you will see over here in the side, one of the things I do very much appreciate about what Vegas PBS did here is a lot of the explanatory information on the right hand side here. So select the channel managers for the thing, name the channel. There are two types of video on demand services: the parent channel, which would be the main channel, and sub channels after it. All right. Sub channels can only do, stuff after the parent channels have been created and whatnot. It's a lot of like technical terms, but if you just build a parent channel, you can add your video assets to it very, very easily. The other thing, and I'm going to move my.
So would that be like in TV terms, you might have, I don't know, NBC, but then you have like MSNBC and other NBC channels, Peacock and whatnot.
You could do as many weird things as you would want. Like one of the things, I'm migrating our videos now into the specialist channel overall, but then first grade, kindergarten, second grade as sub channels. And so when I first started, just last week was kind of just, let's get through it. This week is kind of like, how can we go and customize this thing so that we can really make this kind of a dope user experience?
So you're iterating on your original
big facts.
Situation.
Big facts. Click that. There we go. Now, if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the accessibilities right there, which is really dope. So I'm going to click that, and that's going to bring up the accessibility menu for you and anybody else that was looking at things, right? So you can have the page read to you. You can change fonts so they're more legible. You can highlight links. You can desaturate the page. You can change the cursor. You can add contrast, and you can also add bigger text. So I do like that they attempted to make sure that this was a page. This channel was a lot more accessible than the average page. So we are big into the accessibility. So we not webs.
This is true.
All right, cool. And again, now how do I start to get this stuff onto the page? I'm glad you asked. Let me click there. So I'm gonna go back in time. That's where you create your channel. Oops, that's what I want right there. How do I actually upload things and all that kind of wonderful stuff? A lot easier than what you would think. So you see at the very top it says upload asset. That's how we do it. Click that up. So upload asset after you've created your channel, and bada bing. So great. There are plenty of people that have logged into this thing before. Drag your file from anywhere. What file do you want? Do I got a video file I can throw up here very quickly? I don't know. There we go. Let me see if there's any video I can just throw in here very quickly. Webs. Let me do that one. Something I was fooling around with before. All right, cool. If you notice down here, you can be super fancy and have thumbnails and stuff like that. It's already built like really, really nice for you. It's just plus sign, find something that represents you or whatever. I can search channels. I am the admin for the relay. I'm also the administrator for the school. I can find my name here, Mike Lang. Great. Something cool. Now, down here at the side, I'm going to move this over to here again. Now, this is where the power of this tool comes into place, so that if you're not a YouTube junkie and you just kind of want to like keep it 100, you can keep it this way. It will automatically.
Also, you don't have to worry about blocking, right? Like these videos won't get blocked by the firewall or anything.
The only weird thing, and this is a product of just your own hustle, the only weird thing is if you put kids in timeout on GoGuardian. We've had some issues with some kids like not be able to watch the stream afterwards. I don't know if that happens when you upload videos and embed it someplace, but kids can't watch the actual streams when they're in the timeout room. So
interesting.
You can automatically caption these things. So that is like super, super, super cool. Source language, you're speaking English generally. If you're not speaking English, it's a Spanish translation or whatever. Put your Spanish in there and rock and roll. You can also have it translated into other languages. Now, it's not going to translate automatically during a live stream, but it will translate on the playback. So if I say Spanish, and I also want to have Swahili there. So all the languages that your kids are going to be speaking at school, great. Now, how does that help me as a teacher? Suddenly, my EL friends can hear what I'm saying in their own language or read it in their own language without me having to deal with that. There are some advanced functions. I'm going to click that. I'll put my title in there first. Now, the other thing that's here, adding instructions, links, all that kind of stuff, anything that would be helpful for the student to know as they're going through. And I'm going to hit that advanced button. Now, this is really slick as well. All right. So, you can add a lot of custom things that you wouldn't be able to add onto YouTube as easily, my friends. And this is another, like, really baller situation. You can say, I just want this video to play from a certain day and time to another day and time. All right. So if you wanted that volume, if you wanted to use that as a gatekeeping mechanism, like this video is going to be available for a week, and after that it goes the way of the dodo. Totally cool. Something you can do. You can password protect your video as well. So if this is something that you don't want other people to watch, it's just for your small group, just for a group of teachers that you're working with or whatever, and I still want to host it on the platform, I just don't want anyone to have access to it, you can do that. You can add keywords to it, separated by comma. So again, fractions, U.S. history or whatever, helping other teachers out, you can do that. You can
Abioyo,
yes. You can add a hotspot to your video as well. And you could say, hey, there's a particular place inside the video that once it gets to that place, it's going to, if you click that video in that particular spot, that's going to send that kid to a website, to the Canvas course, to Google Classroom, to wherever. Really, really dynamite functionality in there. And it's in advance, but all you need to do is throw the URL inside there. It's not like, as long as you know where you want to send the kids, you're good to go. All right, so I'm actually going to send people to the intelligenthoodlums.com.
You don't have a shortcut for that?
I'm not as cool as you, Webb. Stop putting pressure on me. Thank you, Webbs.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Sharing. You can allow embedding. You cannot allow embedding. You can allow people to download it as well. So if you have kids who have bandwidth issues at their house, this is another way you can just have the kids download those things, and you're good. I'm actually just going to go up here and put Hoodlum so I can copy it. The intelligent Hoodlums. Do I not have it? There it is. Is that the login? Whoops!
I don't see how this is my fault. You can just delete the end. Or you can just Google intelligent hoodlums.
It's on the other screen too. I'm just getting into this two-screen life.
Oh, two-screen life is amazing. There you go. I put it on Facebook. You can just copy it.
I got it. All right, cool. So I'm going to go and put this in to my deer, and you'll see how cool this is. All right, cool. I'm going to put that in my hotspot image there. All right, cool in the gang. Right now, I don't care about that. Anybody can watch it. Then I'm going to go and upload my hotspot image. So I want an actual picture of the thing that's going to cause my students to find it. And let's go there. And let's go there. All right, cool. So I got my logo. I'll make that start uploaded deal. Cool. That's going to upload for me. It's going to have everything in there. It shouldn't take very long because I think that video is like 30 seconds. But that hotspot thing really is going to be...
Does the hotspot always end up at the end?
That I couldn't tell you because I've only done it at the end. I've only looked for it at the end. But I believe it goes in the top right-hand corner, I believe, by default.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's like an end card on YouTube.
YouTube, yes. All right, so that's uploading. You also have that associated docs. So if there's any PDFs or anything like that you want kids to have where they could read it or whatever, you can have those uploaded as well. So when the kids watch that video, underneath, I would always add that over here where your description, yo, there, Mr. Lang added PDFs to like of screenshots of what your screen should look like at every step of your process or whatever it is. But this really packs a pretty powerful punch without a lot of steps to get a really, really cool video in there.
It's a nice UI, I have to say, like, especially considering there's a lot of content that is made for public school that I feel like they skip on the UX part of it or the UI part of it and do like the bare bones basic stuff. And this is actually like, it's a solid UI.
I like it. I mean, again, I would not have come back to ClassroomCast had YouTube Live failed. Would have never come back to it. And I think it was serendipitous that was the case. All right, cool. It's being transcoded right now. But if I would have added the thumbnails and the embed image, it would look almost exactly like YouTube in that sense. It's really not the most difficult hustle. Now, if I go up here to the top, while it's transcoding, go to that associated docs. Again, I can add the title, add a description, what those files are, all the PDFs or whatever I needed to rock and roll with. Hit the cancel button for right now. All right, I can add more of those documents. All right. I've got my codes there, so if I want to go ahead and say the direct link is there, full screen player is there, my external player is there, wonderful. You can change the dimensions, all that wonderful stuff. You also have your analytics there, which I think is dope. So going on through and be able to say, okay, cool, this is all the stuff that I did, people, how many people looked at it, all that wonderful stuff. You got that YouTube, like that deep dive where you could go and tell your administrator 70 kids looked at my video and did all the stuff they needed to do. I mean, I think it's again, in terms of just simplicity, you don't have to be a YouTube god in order to understand how everything works. Let's see if that helps it transcode a little bit more. What say you, Webbs?
I think that it's interesting. I feel like there are definite advantages to using ClassroomCast. I don't think it entirely replaces YouTube from the perspective of like, on YouTube, you have access to, world-renowned experts and some crazy conspiracy theorists. But, the library of content that you have on YouTube, this pales in comparison. However, from a creation perspective, I feel like this is a nice closed network. There's less distraction. It's still pretty robust as a tool. And I think there was something, maybe not. So yeah, I don't think it replaces YouTube, but from a publishing standpoint, if you're not trying to become some YouTube star, like who's the gym teacher, the PE teacher who just stopped doing his.
Yeah, because he has to go back.
Yeah.
Which sucks, really. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's such a waste of an innovation. Such a waste of innovation, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And I noticed the article I read about him, he also said he's really tired. I mean, there's a reason why TV shows take breaks, right, throughout the year, because producing a TV show is a lot of intense work and it can be exhausting. Creating a new video every day is like, that's a grind. It is a lot.
Exactly.
So
I'll be up all night tonight setting up all the videos for tomorrow to make sure that they run and everything like that. And that guy was creating brand new content every day, which makes me like wonder if like I wonder if anybody reached out to him in that world like, hey, dude, we're gonna give you a show because you had all this viewership. Like, why did you go back to school? Which it's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question.
The other thing that you have inside here where that's cooking is this bulk upload option. So you can take 50 files and up. So if you had multiple videos that you needed to you got all these like disparate videos all on your device of screen shares and screen recordings and this and that, whatever. You can take all those things and bulk upload them onto the site, which again, this doesn't replace YouTube from a consumption point of view. But as Webbs just said, I think it could replace YouTube from a production point of view. Because you would never have a scenario in which the video wasn't white labeled for consumption inside the district because it'd be your own stuff inside of the district's instance. So you can bulk upload things, which is super convenient, especially all those videos you have sitting on your computer or in your Google Drive or anything like that. Bulk uploading is going to save you a lot of time. We also went over last week that EduVision capture idea. All right. So,
but do they have WandaVision capture? Because that's what I really want to know.
Ask Vishan if you have the WandaVision capture. Vishan might be able to help you out with that.
Vishan.
So again, Black Twitter is undefeated, Holmes. Like the Vishan memes are just classic. And again, I've not watched a single episode of WandaVision at all. One of the cool things I like about how social media works is they will explain everything that happened in the episode for you, so I don't have to waste my time watching it. And I'm like, cool, I know exactly what happened. I can go watch Forged in Fire again. Anyway, now, this is a screen recorder, and this screen recorder goes directly to your channel. So there's no, like, the cool thing about it is now I don't have to download anything. I don't have to mess with Flipgrid shorts if I didn't want to. I can screen record everything, goes directly to my channel. I also have that ability to add the thumbnails. All right. I can have the embedded image as well. I can select my channel. I can add all that wonderful stuff. I still get my automatic captions. All this stuff is already built in. I don't have to move media anymore. Like, how convenient is that? And that I can take this and embed this directly into my Canvas course like we're about to do in just a second. So I can take this situation, record my screens all the way through, and not have to worry about moving anything. And I have all my things on my channel, and we're good to go. The only downside to this is if you sever your employment with Clark County, you wouldn't have access to those videos anymore. That would be the bad side. I mean, if you're somebody who's like, that's not top of mind right now, this totally works. But
what is it?
Go ahead.
What does it look like? Which schools? Does the video stay with the school, or does the video go with you?
So, if you notice on my screen, and the teach, I think, is still watching. The teach is still here inside of our instance, despite the fact that she's not here anymore. I couldn't tell you what the actual functionality on her side looks like because I haven't left school. So that would be interesting to teach if you start to play around with the tool. It should travel with you, but who knows? If it doesn't travel with you, the email that's on the very front page of the ClassroomCast, email them and have them move your instance. Because I do think there's not a ton of traffic through the tool. Hopefully Vegas PBS will start to publicize this tool a little bit more so that teachers could use this as a way to, again, keep all of your content together in one place. I think there is an advantage to that. There's an advantage to having a situation where, again, if YouTube fails, if something's blocked, if you're not comfortable with having your information out on YouTube, you could lock your stuff down in the ClassroomCast and no one would be the wiser. I think it does give you that sense of comfort, knowing that it's not for the prying eyes of everyone on the World Wide Web. It will just be, it could be locked down to just Clark County School District employees and students if you wanted it to be. All right. So I really think this is a boon right here. Let's see if that video cooked all the way through webs. Go back to my house here. Let's see if that transcoded for us. Yep. So there we go. There's Bob. I can play that. I don't think I have any video there. Cool. And you will notice at the top up here, that shield. If I click that shield, bada bing, takes me right to the website. So again, super cool functionality with that hotspot. Because I can now build in, if I had to have the kid go to Google I wanted the kid to turn in their work in Canvas, all I need is the URL to the assignment, copy that, tag that onto that video, and now the kid can watch the video and go right to Canvas and turn their work in. All right. I am happy I rediscovered this because of the fact that exists, that functionality exists. It saves you a ton of time in terms of just dealing with, if you plan it out far enough, you could cut a lot of the time from your year to year planning. You could just half that maybe more than half it, and just have a situation where you're just curating the videos to ensure that the material that you're talking about is still relevant. All right. Don't think I added the actual embed there. Whoops. Yep. So the link is there. I'm going to go in here and edit this very quickly so I can go and deal with the video. But you'll see that thing is there. I can delete the video later on. It's built inside there. If I would have added the embed code, I could take that embed and put it right inside of, directly inside of Canvas. You can change, right now it's at 720p. You can change it to 1080p if you wanted to. I mean, it's going to eat a lot more bandwidth, but it'll look pretty. You can also speed up the playback if you wanted to. I know Webs, don't you listen to your podcast like twice the speed or 3 times the speed or something crazy like that?
1.5 times.
1.5 times the speed. So if you're a Webs person with video, if you want to watch it 1.5 times speed, you could do that as well. That's something
drives my roommate crazy.
Yeah, that would drive me crazy as well. All right. You also have the keyboard shortcuts, so it allows you to see what keyboard shortcuts there are. You can turn the captions on and off just with the keyboard and everything. I think they did the attention to the accessibility tools, I think, is baller. Very, very, I think get high marks for me, at least from that. Webs, you're a little bit deeper in that accessibility space. What say you on that?
Yeah, no, I would agree. Like, it seems like they've really put a lot of thought into it. Is there a comment section?
There is no comment section that's built in here.
Which I almost feel like isn't a bad thing.
I say not having the comments is cool because what we did as a school, or what I did as a designer when I was thinking about this entire process, is I took it and I put it inside of a Google site. And I just essentially built the comments into the site so I can watch those things very, very easily. The other thing you could do in terms of, and this is the idea I would have for this inside of your Google Classroom, not Google Classroom, your Canvas, is if you went to modules. All right, I'm going to leave this page really quickly. If you wanted the comments, really simple. The page that you create here.
Can you just add like a discussion?
This discussion page.
And then put the video at the top.
Bada bing.
Yeah.
Throw that piece inside there and call it Bob again.
Bob has so many assignments.
And bada bing, Bob is there. I go to Bob.
I'm surprised I haven't heard anyone talking about this tool.
I mean, it's been around for a while. It's been around. I used it right after CCSD TV bit the dust. They started to pivot to this tool. It was like in its infancy the last time I kind of really dived into it, and I totally forgot it exists. There's been no real advertisement around it. Especially, like, you would think this tool would have been, oh my God, let's get this tool out into people's hands but no, which is interesting. All right. And so you could.
Yeah, because it's been a year now. Like,
Facts.
I think it was the 13th of March when school shut down.
It was indeed on my birthday, fam. Indeed on my birthday.
And so, like, no one has mentioned this. So at the beginning, when folks were like, I need something to screen record, no one mentioned ClassroomCast had that capability.
At all.
Quiz reports? Did I see quiz reports?
Yep. So, little much for right now. You can build quizzes into your deal. So what we just did today is just like, hey, throw video up, hotspots, etc. What we can do on Thursday is kind of look at how can you put your assessments into these videos as well, and then take those things and put them into Canvas as, you know, in addition. And so I'm gonna go edit this channel really quickly. I got 34 things in there. Oh, I'm not going to do that right now because our picture is covering my button and I don't feel like looking over that next screen. So I'll do that on Thursday. We can go back and we can edit all these things. But one of the things I did want to show you, because we can show you, if you're a teacher who's really interested in doing these things, the encoder process isn't that big of a deal. If you have the tech to run it. You're not going to be able to run an encoder and a stream off of a Chromebook as easily as you would have with a basic computer with 16 gigs of RAM on it. You could get away with it that way. You can also, and we're going to have to go and do that as well, you can teach your class and you can stream an event without being anywhere near your computer either, which is another dope thing that I can show you how to do. Because, yeah, sometimes you got to go to the bathroom. Sometimes you need to take a prep. Right now, I don't have any preps. So in order to create a prep, sometimes I have to go and say, if I recorded this hour program 3 hours before I needed it, I can stream that still live. And no one would know the difference at all unless I told you that I wasn't streaming live. And then you would know the difference, but you would have no idea that I wasn't sitting in front of my computer doing exactly what I was doing. So
what?
That I will go and I will show you the
it's like cloning yourself.
Oh, facts. And again, teachers who are looking for that next level foolishness, we got some next level stuff for you if you're willing to go. And one of the things to do if you're a teacher this summer is really go in and seeing how top shelf, and I think we need to do a show on that as well, Webs. What is the best computer you can afford? And not going into the situation where you're looking at, I'm going to use this Chromebook. Nope, don't use the Chromebook. The Chromebook is crappy. What is the best computer at the price point that you can afford in order to run what you need to run through? Yes, Webs, go ahead.
So I don't think this is a conversation just limited to teachers either. If we end up doing a whole episode on computers, because the thing I see a lot is like people will say, I need to buy a new computer. What brand should I buy? And it's like, well, the brand doesn't really matter. Like the operating system matters, how much RAM you have matters, your processor matters. But after that, like the brand is irrelevant. It's like, oh, I mean, no, because I feel like peanut butter brands actually do matter.
Yeah, I mean.
But like, I'm trying to think of a good
like
a comparison.
The Hood 2.0 with 16 gigs of RAM is probably not going to perform in the same way that like the reviews I hear about the M1s, the new M1s are like, dude, the thing they hit, and you're talking about 8 gigs of RAM with a lot of those devices, and they're still able to go in and keep up with a lot of the machines that have higher levels of RAM on them and whatnot. But
that's the technology. Like, I mean, granted, Apple created that technology, so yes, it is unique to Apple. But like, if that same processor was in a Dell, it would run just as well. Like, it's not the actual brand that matters. It's the specifications. And everyone focuses on, well, I have a Samsung and I really like it. Okay, well, that doesn't matter. What's the RAM on it? How much memory does it have? Like, what's your processing speed? Like, these are all the things that matter that I think a lot of folks don't know because nobody teaches you that. Like, that's just a thing you kind of have to figure out, learn, hear from other people.
So Thursday we'll kind of look at, okay, ClassroomCast. You can record stuff really easy. You can throw your stuff on your channel and whatnot. You can use the hotspots, which you kind of went over today. But like, how do you go and add some of the flashier bits? How do we add the quizzes that Webb's kind of mentioned as I was going through? How do I add a bunch of PDFs onto the thing? If I wanted to take that and place it all over my Canvas instance, what kind of things or what kind of processes might I be interested in? And so we're going to really beat ClassroomCast into the ground because I do think there is there's a great reason to utilize the tool. And again, as Webb said, it is not going to replace, and no one said, suddenly ClassroomCast is the bomb and don't go to YouTube. If you find great content on YouTube that you need to embed inside your Canvas course, rock and roll. But if you're creating things, I think that there is there are very clear reasons why ClassroomCast should be the tool that you utilize. One, again, is if you're someone like me where you don't want your classroom videos all out on the greater internet, ClassroomCast is a great place to hide that information that no one would ever know that stuff exists. But I think also, if you wanted to share videos with people who are in the Clark County School District, being able to share them your channel on ClassroomCast with all your materials, I think that's a lot safer way to share that information, and also to have teachers start to collaborate and use your content within the district without having to go to the greater internet, and kind of using the power of our school district in order to inspire creators and inspire collaboration. What say you, Webbs?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, is it possible to share your channel out to the wider school district? Because I was thinking, like, what would then prevent someone, if you can't get a sub, I can show them your specials channel and kids can enjoy that for a day or an hour or whatever. If someone needs a math class and I'm sick and I can't do it right now, like there's the possibility that I can use someone else's class and be able to share it. And like you could multiply your efficacy by like powers of who knows how much.
I mean, definitely. I think that when we start thinking big, that's when the big problems get solved. But I think one of the the temptations is to continue to go back to what was this previously, and that's a scary, a very scary scenario. In when we have been exposed to so many tools, so many strategies, so many pedagogical evolutions, that at this point we should be thinking about, why am I teaching my class by myself instead of teaching my class with every other art teacher in the school district, every other music teacher, every other fourth grade teacher, every other fifth grade teacher, that my students can benefit from the powers of the entire school district, rather than me saying the only pony voice they're going to hear on a regular basis is me. What happened, Webbs?
Uh-oh.
All right, so that is not a good So we're gonna go ahead and end our show. We're 5 minutes over anyway. It's all to the good. Webbs, any closing ideas before we let go?
If you haven't started exploring creating video, I highly recommend it.
Big facts. And even it doesn't have to look like $1 million video. It could look like your video. And
yeah,
like I said with our channel, every day I've added something new. I've looked at something and said, hey, I wonder if I can improve that piece, and gone through and added something to improve it. It's not being perfect on the first try. It's not being perfect on the 1,000th try. It's being better than every preceding day. Go ahead, Webbs.
I would say go to our YouTube channel, watch some of our content from 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes. Things have evolved, man.
We have attempted this very show more than once, and it did not look like this. But nobody probably ever
watched the first shows of these, right? It was the same thing. It was poor lighting. It was janky. We didn't have no graphics. It was just like us standing there talking to people and talking to one another. Things evolve, and that's the dope thing about it, is once you learn better, do better, man. Go ahead, Webbs.
On YouTube, there's a YouTuber named MKBHD who has a tech review channel. And he started when he was like, I don't even know if he was a teenager yet. He might have only been like 10 or 11, doing his first review of, a laptop or something. And he's now like, I don't know how much money he makes, but he's in his mid to late 20s. He's still a YouTuber. He's made a complete career out of it. Like, he's on his 3rd or 4th Tesla, just to give you an idea of like what income bracket he's in as a YouTuber. His initial videos were just him with like a camcorder that he uploaded the video. And now he's got all kinds of cool flashy graphics, and there's stuff you can buy with his logo on it and whatnot. Like, nobody does, Rome wasn't built in a day. Like, you start out with janky and then you evolve, you build it. So don't try to do everything all at once. Just 1% better every day.
Hey, don't compare yourself to anybody but yourself. I mean, that's the other thing with kind of like this, nuclear arms race type mentality we have. Like, look at it and say, and also talk to your users. Talk to your students like, hey, what do you think about that video? Oh, Mrs. Lang, I didn't really like this part. If you did this, what if yours looked like this? And then I go and look at the thing like, oh, that's pretty dope. How could I go and jerry rig that same functionality into our streaming show? Or how can I increase the interactivity of the show? Or how can I... Those are the ideas you want to start to play around with, so that your show is your show rather than what somebody else is dealing with, and that your show is also meeting the needs of your users. That goes right back to what Webb said at the beginning. We're talking to our user says X, great. How do we make that happen so our user is happy? And I love, the best thing in the world is seeing kids say, oh my goodness, Mr. Lang, that was so cool. And you're like, all right, man, they're just like, oh my goodness, I'm a hero to somebody who's 6. That's amazing. I feel good. Let me go and add other features that the 6-year-old kid might say, oh my goodness, Mr. Lang is really dope. I had one kid that last week said, when I grow up, I'm going to be a technology teacher. And I was like, yeah, that just warms your heart, because they understand that you're trying to improve, and you're trying to improve for them rather than trying to compare yourself to somebody else.
I got a sibling, And the sibling was like, oh my God, I've waited for your class for so long. And I'm like, I don't even know you. No, but my brother was in your class 2 years ago. And he said it's the best class besides PE because everybody likes PE better. But I was so excited. I couldn't wait. Like that is probably the best testimonial I ever got as a teacher was when a sibling was looking forward to being in my class or some other kid was like, oh, I wish I was in your class. Like, that was the biggest testimonial to me was the fact that kids wanted to be in my class.
Super dope. That's all we got for tonight, my friends. We'll see you Thursday where we're going to look at kind of the assessment strategy with ClassroomCast. Big shouts out to Vegas PBS for making this tool available. Again, doesn't cost us anything. It's just going through, using it, playing around with it. So big shouts to them. Big shouts to my Bethosto people in Lesotho as well. Webbs, any shout outs tonight?
I got nothing.
Indeed. Monday morning is fastly and quickly approaching. It's gonna be an interesting work week, Webbs. About to do that thing.
Indeed. Yay.
Holla.